Welcome back to part 4 of our Growing Guide series. In this video, we'll be chatting all about the proven winners annuals that we are growing at our nursery, along with some of the new varieties for 2024. We will be sharing some growing tips to help you guys have beautiful flowers in your gardens this year. Feel free to go back to watch part 1 through 3 of the series to get more growing tips on all of the plants that we recommend and love to grow as nursery growers. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's just dive right into the proven winners annuals that we're carrying at the nursery. It is not a ton. We're still a small nursery, but we are carrying some because we love them and they perform for us. And as a grower, they're just easy and nice to grow. I love it. They're robust. Safari Dusk. This one is a South African James Britannia, if you heard of the plant, is the first one on the list on the website. I'll put pictures and things and all that on here, but James Britannia, I just love this plant. I don't know what it is about it. It has enough flowiness and looseness about it, but it also has enough structure to it that it doesn't look messy. Because some things to me, I like, looser, cottagey looking things in the right context. But sometimes I don't like a messy looking plant in like the front of our garden where the landscape is a little, I wouldn't say formal, but it's a little more structured because I don't want the fluffiness and the craziness to kind of detract from the garden. I want to see through it. So I want our landscape to look more structured, I guess, so that your eye just kind of passes by it. Design things. I love design. I love making things and creating things. Anyway, I digress. James Britannia, let's get back to it. This one, again, it is an annual. All these are annuals. Beautiful color. If you have not tried this one, try it. It's a beautiful plant. I'm so excited. It does get actually a significant size. You can use it in the landscape and in containers. The next one is, do I even need to give this one an introduction or even talk about it? Bubblegum. Super Tunia Vista Bubblegum. Amazing for your landscape and your containers. This one, Super Tunias in general, I will say, I think a lot of people will make Super Tunias out, and I don't know if it's our climate, I don't know if it's where we live, or what. A lot of people will make Super Tunias seem, they're easy to grow. I'm not saying they're not, but they're easy, or they're sometimes a little tricky to keep looking nice the whole season. And it's not because of the plant. It's if you don't have it hooked up to water regularly, and if you're not feeding it on a regular schedule, I'd say at least once a week with some sort of fertilizer and something that has iron. Proven Winners has their own water soluble. We've used Espoma liquid fertilizer, the Bloom, and that actually works great. And we've also used the granular flower tone by Spoma as well. They all work well. And then there's Jack's, I think, petunia feed or one of those. Anyway, just feed your plants. I'm not particular in terms of what you end up using or what we end up using. I just want to make sure that they're fed because they do need a lot of food to create those blooms. So if you feel like your Super Tunias are kind of fizzling out, typically it's mid to end of summer that they kind of do that. They naturally do that, even if they have blooms. And I want you guys to listen to this. Focus on my eyes. I'm being dramatic. It's because I'm hungry and loopy. But I do want to mention this. Sometimes you do have to, and maybe I'm speaking this intensely because I'm speaking to my wife too when she sees this video. Sometimes you do have to lose blooms, even if the plant's looking well, if you want it to look great all season long. Because you do have to sacrifice some blooms and trim it up and clean it up. Because as growers, we know that when we pinch plants, then they kind of send off their little, other branches. And they will get all purdy and denser, and they have new growth. Super Tunias are tough. Sometimes they even overwinter for us. But long story short, with Super Tunias, mid to end summer, feed them again and just give them a nice haircut. Even if you lose a lot of blooms, you can cut the plant back to half, even a fourth. They'll come right back. And then you'll have another flush of just a fresh looking plant. Because sometimes it's like half dead, half like, ugh. Anyway. The same goes for all Super Tunias. So the next one is Super Tunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid. I'm super excited about this one. I don't know why, I don't typically get attracted to these colors. I don't really like bicolored plants. I feel like they kind of look, I don't know, they just kind of look not messy, but they look busy. This one doesn't. It looks very consistent to me. and it looks very like symmetrical and pleasing. And it seems to have a more of a higher mounding habit. We have not tried this one, but we're growing it this year because I know it was very popular. And my prediction is that it will be very popular. The next one that we're very excited about is the Saffron Finch. It's fun because there is the Mini Vista Yellow, and I do like the Mini Vista Yellow. I do like the Mini Vistas in general. I'll talk about those in a second. The Mini Vista Yellow, though, I feel like has some green undertones that sometimes you don't get in videos or pictures. This one looks like it has that true yellow. I do know in the South for us, it will probably have more of a lighter creamish because the hotter it is, the more of that tone it will take instead of that deeper yellow in the throat. But this is like butter on a plant in terms of the color. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I'm very excited. We're actually going to plant some in the front of our landscape this year just to test it and see how it does. Next one we grew last year. It did amazingly for us as a grower. It was a dream to grow. It was so not fussy. It was the Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. And as a grower, we know that every Supertunia for some reason has its own personality, has its own growth habit, personality, tendencies. The Jazzberry just formed this beautiful mound. We did not have to pinch. We did not have to watch it. It just did it. And it bloomed a little earlier than all the others. And it was hardy. I love that plant. I like the color. I'm typically more attracted to like lighter, more pastel tones. But this one, I don't know what it is. I loved it. Maybe because it grew so easily for me. It was so, I don't know. I loved it. Next one is another one of my favorites, Mini Vista White. I planted this one in front of our landscape in little balls. I did leave a little space because I just liked that tidy look that it had. A beast. And my mom also got some inspiration from Laura from Garden Answer. She saw her video on her hay racks and the fence that Laura did, and my mom built a fence as she did the same thing. She planted her fence with Mini Vista Indigo, and she planted it with Mini Vista White. She kind of staggered them. It was stunning. It was beautiful. I'll put something here so you guys can see it, but look at it. Isn't it pretty? I love it. It's so beautiful. The next one is Holly's absolute favorite, which on the website we have it marked as staff favorite because she loves this one. And I'm not exactly sure. We hear, on YouTube, you see these plants everywhere. Priscilla is not often given that much attention, and I don't know why. The growth habit, has been improved over the years, and it's beautiful and it's double. It's just a great plant. We planted it in the landscape and in containers. Does great. Mini Vista Yellow. I love this plant, but be warned, if you're looking for a true yellow, this one does have a greenish undertone to it, which from a distance you can't really tell, but this one, it just has a beautiful mounding habit. You almost can't see leaves. It is vigorous. It is easy. I will definitely grow this one. I love it. And I did forget, on the website, we are offering grande size and gallon size. So if you want a more instant impact and you want to put it in the landscape quicker and you don't want to wait that long, we will have those options. But check these out at your local garden centers if you're not local, or see where you can find them. Let's see here. Supertunia Blue Veined. I don't know if you watched her channel or if you're new here or not, but Supertunia Blue Veined has been a veteran in our garden. We have a hard time switching out in our garden that one plant. We want to repeat it every year because it's such a beautiful white lavender soft tone. The habit of it is extremely trailing, and I'll see if I'll find a picture here, but it's a beautiful plant. Very passionate about this one. It is a staff favorite. We're excited about this new one this year, Cashmere Pink Superbena. Superbenas, for us, I don't love growing them in a container, frankly. I'll be honest, because I feel like they need a lot of food. If you don't feed them, they'll start to lose blooms. And I do believe the reason behind that is, not saying you can't, I'm just saying if you have like a automated drip to it and you have automated fertilizer to it, you'll probably do well with this one. Or if you're just really good at staying on top of things, you'll probably do well with this one in a container. Now, Superbena, extremely easy to grow, especially in the landscape. I think for me, in the landscape is where these thrive. And the reason is Superbena kind of, as a grower, you'll notice that I need to pinch them off them because it starts to send off its little legs. It starts running off on me. And it just doesn't look like a neat, tidy plant for retail purposes. But that's its habit. It just grows sideways. And then everywhere Superbena touches, it will send out new roots. So this plant is meant to take up nutrients across the board, as it extends its legs out. And that's where it draws up its nutrients to be able to produce these. Cashmere has similar, I would say, to Super Beano Whiteout. If you've grown it or have seen Super Beano Whiteout, it has these massive blooms. And I'm pretty sure, I know from just hearing about it and learning about it, and we are a Proven Winner certified garden center, so we learn about these things prior to putting them out for retail. Anyway, long story short is I do like them in the landscape. Again, not saying that you can't grow them in the containers, but that's just my preference here in the South. The same thing, Super Beano Cobalt. It is formerly Imperial Blue. Our top selling annual last year was the Imperial Blue. And I will probably say thanks to Laura from Garden Answer. I'm pretty sure she planted something and said she loved that plant. And we got bought out from that plant. We bought another tray and replanted it. We got bought out in like a few weeks of that plant. And we planted a lot. And then, yes, we absolutely love it. And I think for the right reasons, because the color's beautiful. The growth habit in it is beautiful. We had it in the landscape. Actually, this one did decent in containers for us. But again, just keep it fed and fertilized. The next one is Vertigo Pennistetum. We're offering this one in a grande and a gallon. This one grows, it says, I read somewhere it was up to 8 feet, but we've grown this one pretty much every year. If you want to screen something really quickly, it's beautiful. It has thick blades that are purplish in color. The more sun it gets, it will turn into that color. I do know when you get it from us, it'll probably be like greenish purple because when it's small, that's what it looks like. But when you get it, know that that is that plant, and it will turn purple on you. The next one is Sweet Caroline, Sweet Heart Lime, Sweet, oh gosh, that's a lot of words. Sweet Potato Vine. So I will say Sweet Potato Vine has that pothos or pothos-like shape. If you've heard of or seen that vining houseplant that's really deep dark green, but it has the philodendron heart-shaped leaves, that is Sweet Caroline, Sweet Potato Vine in terms of the shape. Beautiful, vigorous. If you want a nice bang for your buck plant, ground covery kind of thing, it's not technically ground cover, but it will just kind of take over. But bang for your buck. Talk about bang for your buck. The next one, speaking of bang for your buck, Plain the Blues Salvia is, and I think on the website I wrote it wrong. Did I? No, I wrote it right. I copy-pasted it. So it is Plain the Blues Salvia. We've grown this one every year. If you're familiar with Plain the Blues Salvia, it is, for us, sometimes it comes back, actually, as a perennial. Tough plant, beautiful lavender blooms. I feel like the pictures on the website here don't do it justice because this plant gets big. One plant gets really, really big. 2-3 feet, maybe 3 by 3. That's by memory, just kind of thinking about what it'll get to, but I'm going to look it up here. Garden height, it gets 2 to 4 feet in terms of height. Spread is 2 to 3 feet. Yeah. So on the height, it does get a little taller once it has the blooms, up to 4 feet. It's a big plant, so you don't need many of these to make a statement. If you are wanting to plant these in a clump and make it look like a really nice drift, I would plant them in odd numbers, 3 to 5. Now, you can plant them in the landscape. I plant them here in our heavy clay soil. I will say amend the soil somehow. Add pine bark fines that are composted. You can get that at Lowe's or your big box store. Gypsum, other things just to kind of lighten up that soil. I found that the salvia will survive just fine. It will not it will not die on you. It'll look fine. But it will thrive when it can have a little bit of draining in the soil, and it will grow a lot bigger for you if you can offer it better soil than our heavy clay. So amend it somehow. The next one is the only Calibrachoa we're offering this year because we only have limited space, which is the Magic Pink Lemonade. I think last year was called Prism. I think that one was a name change. Beautiful Calibrachoa. It does age, I believe it starts in the pinkish hues. I can't remember the order. Either way, it has a mixture of pink and yellow and anywhere in between on the plant. So it looks very varied. It's a beautiful plant. I actually had a lot of fun growing it last year. People really liked it. Calibrachoas, container plants. If you have sandy soil or loose soil that is really well draining, definitely you can do it in the landscape. Here for us, our soil does not drain well. So Calibrachoas, super bells, if you will, don't do that great in our landscape. Next one, Proven Winners Toucan Coral Canna Lily. It is a popular one, a great seller for us, and also It is one that we planted in our kind of tropical area that we have. Holly loves her little tropical area. She wanted an area with just beachy looking sand and tropical plants and landscape. We call it that. It's our version of a tropical garden in South Carolina. As tropical as we can make it to also fit in within the rest of the landscape, to not make it look so, I don't know, I told her I love the idea of the tropical garden, but I didn't want it to look so themed. You know what I mean? Like a birthday party set up over there that essentially you could tell it's a theme, but everything else looks more, I don't know what the whole style and the vibe is. The front of the home is more formal, if you will. I wouldn't say formal, but structured. And then the garden is also a little more structured, and then we have the tropical area. So I wanted it all to blend, and I think we achieved that. The more plants we add, I just want it to look lush and full, jungly, in a contained way, but really nice way. And the canna coral lilies really gave it that just natural look. I'll see if I can find pictures or videos. I can't remember if I took any last year, but we also planted them in these containers that I built for Holly for Mother's Day as a gift. We planted them in those, and they look great. I think in one of the videos I showed a tour, and I think I breezed through them, and you can see them in the background, and they made the tropical area look tropical. Next one is, I almost put this one also in the cut flower department, is the Suncredible Yellow Sunflower. Grows great in the landscape and containers. It is a beast, and the more you cut it, the more blooms it will make. So this one actually you can use as a cut flower plant, which is excellent. The next one is Augusta Lavender Heliotrope or Heliotropium. I like to call it heliotrope because that's how I know them. This one smells of the beach to me. It smells not like suntan lotion, because that has a bad connotation to it, but similar, but very vanilla-like too, which is weird. I know these descriptions are awful, but I would say lean more on the vanilla side. Take that suggestion. Beautiful scent. And they are a looser-looking plant, but still they have enough structure to not look messy. They get big. They're beautiful in the landscape or containers. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about the heliotrope and don't plant it, but you should. It's great. Blew my mind, XL Evolvulus. We're carrying this one because we have a lot of other vigorous plants. So if people want to make containers, I wanted a Evolvulus plant, first of all, that is a true blue. I feel like somebody needs to talk to whoever in the horticultural world decided that blue is purple. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I get it, but it's not. So anyway, I'm being unnecessarily passionate about that. But typically in the horticultural world, they'll call something blue when really it's purple. This one is a true blue. It's a morning glory dwarf. It's not invasive, not like the vines that'll go everywhere. It will have a good, the XL has more vigor. The non-XL blew my mind, which they also carry, not as much vigor. So this one will be well suited also for the landscape. So if you want a little presence of blue in the landscape, do the XL version. Or if you want to plant some supertunias or other things that are a little more vigorous, or like a mini vista in a container with the XL, it'll keep up. Next one is Surefire Red Begonia. I mean, who doesn't love a good begonia? But surefires are sun or shade, which is nice because not all begonias do that. And this one is red. My son loves red, so we thought we typically don't err on the bolder colors or the warmer colors, but I thought we need to carry something for the people that like it. So I apologize if we don't have enough warm colors for you in the greenhouse. Partly or in the website, it's a selfish purpose here. No, I'm kidding. But those of you that do like begonias, you can also find them locally too. See if other places do have them. If you want them in different colors too. If you see things that we don't carry, we're not the only garden center in town. But I will say there are white ones, there are rose, and then there's cherry cordial, which has that dark purplish leaf. It's beautiful. But surefires are they don't need fertilizer, just give them water. Easy. The next one for us, we grew this one last year in our tropical area, and I think we might do it again. Sun patience. I mean, you can't go wrong with a sun patience. I will say they're easy to grow. They're beautiful. Low maintenance-ish, except for they are drama queens with water. If they go a little dry, they will flop on you and look all dramatic and, like a toddler having a temper tantrum. But The nice thing about it is you water it, it will perk right back up. They are fine. They're just a little more water hungry and they're a little more dramatic. So they do excellent in the landscape. In the landscape, they tend to droop less, because there's more soil around them. In the containers, they will droop a little more. So if you feel like you have to water them all the time, it's because you have to water them all the time. I know in our greenhouse, we had the automated sprinklers. If we didn't, that plant will be drooping all the time because by the time we get to it. But it's beautiful. It loves the heat. It will bloom its brains out all throughout the summer, which I love because there's not many plants that do that. There's a lot that kind of fizzle out in our humid, hot summers because it's not just the heat, it's the humidity.
It's not the heat. It's the humidity.
And they can take it. The next one is another one that can take the heat and humidity. Luscious, where are my words? Luscious Royale Lemon Tart. I will say I looked at the pictures of this one last year or the year before, I can't remember, on the Proven Winners website or even online. We carried this one last year. We sold out of it very quickly. You guys love your lantanas here in the South, but also if you're not in the South and you want a plant that does really well in the heat, or you just like an easy plant, deer resistant as well. It does have a scent to it that the deer don't like. Now, it's not deer proof. If they're hungry, they'll eat whatever. But it did excellent. And I will say it's a lot lemonier yellow in person than it is in the picture. It's not that bright of a yellow in terms of like that neon yellow. It's a very calm, very soothing, lemony yellow. And that's actually why I loved it. I didn't love the bright, mainly because of the color palette. I like that color. I like the bright color just in what we were doing, what we were trying to accomplish with what we're carrying. Anyway, so the next one, Wicked Witch Coleus. Coleus, excellent plant, shade or sun. The fringe on this one, I call it the fringe, but the edging on this one is kind of twirly, if you will, or serrated. It's probably a better word for it. And it does have that kind of lime green edge, which if it didn't, I feel like the plant would look like a blob of purple because you couldn't distinguish each leaf. But because it has that edge of that lime chartreuse green, and then it has the veining that's kind of what is that? That's kind of like a rose pink, magenta maybe. Beautiful plant. They get big, so it's a thug in a container if you plant it with other things, but it's a great background. If you plant something in front of it, it sets off other plants. Like I see the Wicked Witch Coleus and I see that Sun Patience, and I would think, man, because Coleus can tolerate water fine, the backdrop that would create for that color tone, or really anything, you can mix them. Beautiful. The next one that I'm going to talk about, last plants for part number 2. And before I get to that, part number 3 will be perennials. We'll talk about the perennials that we are growing, and I'll give you some growing tips and so on and so forth. Perfectly pink angel face Angelonia, summer snapdragon essentially. These get big, beautiful, hardy, robust. The leaves are like a waxy, lush green, and they stay that way. Deer don't bother them, easy to grow. Now, my favorite thing about them is because we have clay soil, sometimes our clay soil, when it rains or even when we have our drip irrigation system, it just can't tolerate all that water and it will just sit and get pooled up. So we have one spot that's really wet in front of our garden that's just kind of soupy and gross and sad. And I kept thinking we should plant a plant that likes wet feet so that it will suck up all that moisture. So I do have some ideas, but last year we had some leftover Angelonia, planted it there. No issues. It grew beautifully. It did not even blink at the, I didn't really realize that about it until we kind of experimented with it. I'm not sure if that's even something Proven Winners markets or not, but from our experience, it tolerated, I'll see right here, Angelonia will tolerate wet feet. I should probably read more. Angelonia will tolerate wet feet and a fair amount of drought. Drought and wet feet. Amazing. So if you're not too experienced in growing and you want to try some things out, Perfectly Pink Angelonia has the upright habit. So always think of, get an upright habit, get something with a bold leaf, and get something more flowery, low growing, then you can make a nice container. Thriller, filler, spiller. Angelonia is definitely a thriller. She is she does not share the attention. She is there for the show, and it's all about her. But if she tolerates wet feet in my garden, she can have all the attention because there's not many plants that love that environment. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As a reminder, pre-order sale for our setapartfarmandgardens.com website is live. If you are local or within a 50-mile radius from Fountain Inn, South Carolina, or Malden or Greenville area, you can enter your zip code on the website at the cart or checkout area. It'll tell you if you qualify for delivery, and the pricing will be there. Orders above $250, you get 15% off and free delivery. So if you are about 50 miles away from us, which includes some of Georgia, some of North Carolina, and those borders, you are eligible for free delivery. I think if you don't do the free delivery, it is probably around $40 for the delivery. Which I look at it, I'm thinking that's not that bad, because think about a gallon or a tank of gas. So 50 miles to and fro to pick up 100 miles. So not that that's a whole gallon or tank, but decent amount in gas and time. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know. And then if you order anything, pre-order, everything is 10% off up to $100. $100 to like $249, it's 15% off. And then anywhere above $250, it's free delivery and all that goodness. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next video will be on Proven Winners perennials that we are growing tips about them. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.